Welcome to the show, everybody. We got a good one for you. So the Daily Mail is reporting that Kristi Noem's husband is a cross-dresser who shares photos of himself with balloons under his shirt, trying to resemble massive fake breasts. It's called Bimbofication, a term that was not on my bingo card today. Never heard of it before. The question, though, is did his apparent fetish raise concerns the former DHS secretary could have been blackmailed? Was this possibly the real reason President Trump fired or reassigned her, depending on which headline you read? One report suggests a cam girl released the photos as punishment for Noem's strict immigration enforcement policies. So here's another question. For years, social conservatives have wondered why Republicans have failed at conserving anything, particularly in the social sphere. Could the answer be that many of our leaders are actually morally degenerate? Also, we have reports that the bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk doesn't match the gun, and those reports have broken the internet. Some people say it's clickbait, others not. We'll talk about it here on the program today. The Paul Harrell program starts now.
Paul Harrell program.
All right, folks, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being with us. We are broadcasting live here on LFA TV, broadcasting live from Arkansas. Also, want to remind everybody that if you are listening to this, watching this program, and you're in Arkansas right now, if you're watching live, it is Election Day for the state of Arkansas. There's a statewide race. It's a runoff race between Brian Norris, who's running for Secretary of State, and State Senator Kim Hammer running for Secretary of State. This is the runoff. It is very much, there's no way to get around it. It's very much the establishment versus the grassroots. Paper ballots or electronic voting machines, certainly a hot button issue here. So I'm just saying this as a reminder, if you haven't voted and you're in Arkansas, you've got till 7:30 to vote today, 7:30 Central, polls close. So make sure you go vote, regardless, doesn't matter how you feel, go vote, exercise your right to vote. I'm joined by a guest, our reoccurring guest, in seat number 3. We've got Eric Haynes is with us. Eric, how are you, sir?
So great to be part of the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to say I really appreciated your rant or your monologue the other day. I thought it was fantastic. So you did a great job really highlighting the lies that the left have bought when it comes to the no kings or protesting fascism. And not to throw your friend in this camp, but he's showing up at these protests. Let's assume that your friend is mentally sound. Okay. maybe not. But he's showing up to protest with guys that are now putting red lipstick on. Supposedly straight men putting red lipstick on because of Nazi Germany or something. We've got that clip for you later in the show if we have time. But anyway, I appreciated that. I thought that was really good.
Nah, thank you. I should send him a message and ask him if he powdered his nose before he did the walk at the rally on Saturday. Now. Yeah,
you should. Yeah, you should send him. You should send him the clips that we're
going
to play today.
Got a little rouge on your cheeks, buddy. You're looking a little rosy, buddy.
It's just I don't know. Yeah, it's the protest. It brings out the pinkish hue. Is there a hue?
The pinkish hue. Another Seinfeldism.
Oh yeah, it gotta have at least one a day. At least one a day. All right, let's get to it. Bimbofication. I mean, this is a story that just came out of nowhere today. I just can't believe this is the case. This is true. But I mean, this is the reports. Kristi Noem's husband apparently likes to cross-dress and wear massive fake breasts. Apparently, he was living.
You got to pause right there.
Okay, yeah. Apparently, Kristi Noem's husband Brian was living a double life or a double D life.
Did you mean to do that?
Well, because I can't say
he's pretty lopsided, but those are definitely double Ds.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, or they're bigger. He's living that double D lifestyle.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
How often do we say bless his heart?
So I mean, this is something that just raises so many questions. Bimbofication, though, we might want to dive in there, or maybe not. Maybe I don't want to dive in there. It's like my worst nightmare. But so apparently it's the process of adopting a hyper-feminine appearance and persona, often characterized by, what does this say here? By Y2K-inspired fashion, vibrant colors, and artificial enhancements. It says, while historically a pejorative term for unintelligent women, modern reclaimed bimbofication emphasizes reclaiming femininity, self-confidence, kindness, and leftist politics rather than adhering to the male gaze. Well,
I saved my Google search history from Bimbofication, and I'm just going to let you explain it so that
I know.
It's not it doesn't come up on my feed the rest of the evening.
So the male gaze, though, was apparently something that Kristi Noem's husband, Brian Noem, was all about, because it's still, shocker, it still attracted the male gaze. And so he apparently was interacting with, I guess, cam girls and would pay them, girls that are enhanced, I guess, and he had this apparent fetish. And here is the Daily Mail story behind a paywall. But secret double D life, of Kristi Noem's cross-dressing husband Byron, the pouting, busty bimbo photos, and a trove of explicit messages. So busty bimbo apparently was his screen name, was his username on these sites. Photos aren't pretty, folks, but we can also report this. According to Mark Caputo, Mark Caputo is the Trump White House reporter for Axios. He claims, he posted this, "Yeah, I got a weird lead." A source texted Mark Caputo February 13. They said an immigrant sex worker, possibly in the country illegally, wanted to go public about Noem's husband using her services online. It was vengeance for DHS's immigration enforcement. He says, "I couldn't land the interview. Sharing because folks sometimes wonder how reporting works. Here I would have needed to talk to the accuser and verified the info the way the Daily Mail did. When we use anonymous sources, they're credible. Sometimes it means someone else gets the story." So that just lends a little bit more credibility to this. Even though it's an Axios reporter, it is something to think about in terms of, he says that there were rumors of this. Now, if there have been rumors of this for a long time, logic suggests that this may have played a role in Kristi Noem's firing just because of potential blackmail, where if you're the Secretary of Homeland Security, you are a cabinet secretary for the President of the United States. Now, I know the official reasons that Kristi Noem was fired or reassigned were, she could possibly be the way she handled the Alex Preddy case when he was killed. Her initial statements were not quite accurate, although we do have the video about this, and we still are waiting on a lot of information surrounding that. But we know Alex Preddy was we know he was basically a communist revolutionary, and it just is what it is, an agitator, if you will.
Total.
But she did go out and she said things that weren't immediately true, so that was a strike against her. And then the $200 million ad campaign that she said Donald Trump authorized, he says he didn't. And I got the feeling that they had already the whole Senator Kennedy thing, the senator from Louisiana, that was the real crux of the matter. He later went on to say, after Senator Kennedy questioned her in the hearing, in the committee, about the $200 million ad campaign, that Donald Trump called Kennedy and said, "I never authorized it." To me, it just felt like, hey, we had already made the decision to get rid of her. And it just felt like, to me, Senator Kennedy's questioning was, I think maybe he even knew she was on the way out. And so I think all of this is a lot more planned, is what I'm trying to say, than just, things are planned out before they happen. And that's just how politics work a lot of times. Sometimes it's spontaneous.
Timing of things is not lost on objective people.
Yes.
That are asking some questions like, okay, how long ago were these pictures taken? how long did people hold this? When do these conversations start, and why now? Why now is always for me the first question. Like, why are we finding out about this now? Why not a couple of weeks ago? Why not a few years ago?
Right.
Before she was confirmed in her confirmation hearings, because you would think if somebody had this stuff, they would have thrown that out to all the Democratic senators in her confirmation hearing,
right,
or any other time between then and today.
Yeah, that's a good point. But so, and then you also had this alleged affair with Corey Lewandowski that is going on between Kristi Noem and Corey, or this is what's been reported. She gets asked about it by the Dems. That also kind of compounded things because I believe Lewandowski was technically like underneath her in the ranking, the hierarchy, right? So her subordinate, I guess, is what you would say. So that also complicated things. But now we also kind of have a clearer picture in somebody's personal life, which you never want to. It's really sad, but you're thinking like, okay, has Kristi Noem known this for a while? Has she known that her husband was, some people say
simp?
A simp, or people were wondering why he was apparently okay with the affair that was going on, kind of like a really bad kept secret. Some people on X are speculating that Kristi Noem, off the record, has told reporters for a while now that her husband's gay.
Yeah.
And
it's tough because you don't want to dive into the, sexual deviant whatevers of someone's personal life in that capacity, if it doesn't have anything to do with anything illegal, but their proclivities and their preferences and whatever you want to call them, fetishes. It is what it is, but man, at that level, if you don't think that stuff's going to come out, not that this has anything to do with kids, but it's like I'm always trying to teach my kids, like, just go ahead and own it because it's going to come out. Mom and I are going to find out about it. So
we're going to find out that the balloon ties
you're lopsided.
We're
gonna see it. Your double D's balloons are lopsided. We're gonna figure this stuff out. You will not get away with this. In the same way I have conversations with children about those things, it's the same way with these people. And it's like, how long has this been going on? Forever? Like, did you not think that people were going to snapshot? I snapshot everything these days. So do other people. Like, this stuff's going to come out.
Well, so and so the potential for some sort of blackmail was obviously high, and I think now we know when I first saw the story, it's like, okay, that's the real reason she was out.
Yeah.
Because she was loyal to Trump. Trump seems to always honor. And a lot of times, if you're loyal to Trump, look at Pam Bondi. I mean, she should not have a job right now, but she still does. And so I think this is probably the real reason that this was a national security. You could clearly, if this was known, this was a national security problem. Your husband's now a liability. You've got left-wing illegal cam girls now that are snapping photos of your husband in his fetish. We can't have that. That's a bridge too far. So, but there is the other part here. This is supposed, the party of family values, and yet here we are. Some people have already made the connection between Kristi Noem's when she was governor. We're talking about this is the former governor of South Dakota. Okay, if you kind of go into her record here, she took a lot of heat. I think she eventually signed it, but she took a lot of heat when she vetoed the trans sports bill in South Dakota. People claimed it was because of the this article, financial pitfalls of anti-LGBTQ bills or potential boycotting of the state, or who knows, you might have had back then. People were worried about having trouble with the NCAA if you did that kind of thing. My, how times have changed when it comes to this. But I mean, this is it. I mean, this is the photo that, there's a couple photos, but you see him there in these pink shorts. And also it's kind of weird. This is some sort of flesh-colored, those are the balloon ties, by the way. Those are balloon ties made to look like human anatomy. And but he's in a flesh-colored I don't know what that is. Some sort of Spanx, I guess. Spanx, you know what I mean?
I never would have thought that Spanx would have made its way to the Paul Harrell program.
But he's doing that to look naked, I guess. And then we have, he's taking photos of his pink pants, and he's taking photos with the duck lips, and even, this is what's out there. The Daily Mail is reporting it, but it has people, noting this. Okay, so Lauren Witzke over on X writes, I've always wondered why Kristi Noem refused to protect girls from transgender, cross-dressing men and boys in her ultra-conservative state. Over and over again, she would refuse to sign into law protections for boys and girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports. So people are drawing that conclusion, or they're at least asking that question. Does this have something to do with it? When it hits, you hear this a lot. When things hit closer to home, people, when it's people that or you care about or you love, you can tend to pull your punches when we're you talk in black and white in the 30,000 foot view, but when it comes down to the minutia, maybe it's not so black and white. That's kind of the human condition. That's what happens when it affects you personally. But Jeff Younger, who is fighting fighting the trans mafia because his son was kidnapped by his ex-wife and taken to California to be transed, he says, now we know they're all crypto leftists on social issues. Now, this is somewhere we could camp out, because I think there's something to this. I think there's something to this, where, the party of family values, it seems like our leaders, when it comes time to it, when it comes down to it, in a lot of ways, they are soft on the social issues and are crypto leftists on the social issues. And Jeff Younger came on this show and said just that. And said the fact that, yes, Trump's executive order is fantastic, banning genital mutilation of kids, but it needs to be codified into law. But we have a problem, and that's the Republican Party and the people that fund the Republican Party, the mega donors, don't want to put it into law. They don't want to ban the genital mutilation of kids and put it into law. Our own party, the party that we operate in, the party that we're trying to use to affect change, doesn't want to do the most basic thing that we want them to do because they're weak on social issues.
Yeah.
And I'll give you another example. I mean, here in the state of Arkansas, depending on what ranking you look at, people will say that Arkansas is one of the most, or if not the most, pro-life state in the nation when it comes to protecting babies and trying to save babies from being murdered in the womb. But I believe that if it ever got on the ballot, if there was ever a statewide ballot initiative and the people got to vote up or down, you would see Republican voters, specifically women voters, that would secretly go vote for some kind of bill that would legalize abortion. I really do believe that. I think that's an issue as well. So I think there's this is just my gut feeling, but I mean, you can feel free to disagree with me, sound off in the comments, but I think we've got problems when it comes to stuff like this. And now Kristi Noem is, to be fair, or to report the whole story here, she says that she's devastated. Former Department of Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem is devastated by salacious allegations her husband Byron lived a double life where he cross-dresses and chats online with fetish models. Ms. Noem is devastated. The family was blindsided by this, and they asked for privacy and prayers at this time. That's the representative told the Post. Also, President Donald Trump weighing in. Shocked Trump reacts to Kristi Noem's cross-dressing husband after Daily Mail blew lid on national security scandal. See, I think that's we're going to maybe criticize some Daily Mail headlines here in a minute concerning Charlie Kirk, or others have.
Yeah.
But we will. But national security scandal is that. Yeah, and I think it's safe to say this is the real reason Kristi Noem was let go. And I think Senator Kennedy, with the $200 million ad campaign from, what was that, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago? I don't know. But I think that was the convenient scapegoat for the time, because it would have been really bad had this story broken while she was still DHS secretary.
So they've got records of this thing at the bottom. Byron sent his secret roster of online acquaintances at least $25,000 via Cash App and PayPal. I mean, you can look at pictures and question them, right, and be like, oh, is that AI generated? Should I believe this? Is this even real? But it's like, man, if there's really this much evidence of this going on, do they have... I start asking questions like, did they have that much money to where he could just PayPal $25,000 away and Kristi wouldn't be like, hey, Hubs, what's going on with their bank account? I don't know. Maybe they have too much money to care.
They got too much money to care, brother. That's
a different level than me. So
yeah, that's,
I know $25,000 would go missing from my checking account. It'd be like,
we need to have a talk.
What's going on, hon?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just different. It's just different lifestyles. Those are middle class little people problems, Eric.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
Those are not Director of Homeland Security, Governor of South Dakota problems.
Yeah.
$25,000 is not a problem for these people. So it's
weird,
just
weird stuff.
Yeah, it is what it is. But Donald Trump.
To your point too about the Republican Party being kind of having the moral high ground for a very long time. Scandals would come up, but it felt like that there were less stuff like this happen to the Republican side of the aisle than the Democrat side.
And
of the
if it did,
aisle.
it ended your political career.
That's right. And that was the point I was getting to, was that the Dems would rally around and figure out a way to sweep it under the rug, whereas with Republicans, like, you're gone.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And obviously that changed. I think President Trump certainly, I mean, he just weathered the storm when the allegations of his personal life came out. I mean, he just said, "No, I'm not going anywhere." Right? Which in the past that would have torpedoed a normal Republican.
Because isn't that funny? The outsider, it was like, well, that's probably just kind of baked into the cake. Like, it's the Donald Trump.
Yeah, the New York billionaire real estate mogul.
Yeah, he's had 3 wives and he's cheated on all of them. Like, that's just kind of baked into the cake.
Yeah,
it's not. But some lifelong senator or representative that's a lifer screws up, then it's somehow different.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Or walks around Disney World with a red-haired little toy, bubble toy.
Well, yeah, it's interesting on that. I mean, you remember Herman Cain?
Yes.
The late Herman Cain. He died during COVID, right?
Yes.
So Herman Cain was, he was running for president back in the day, and he was kind of a rising star. That was back when people were, especially, even the idea of a black Republican presidential candidate was a big deal.
He was great.
And but then what happened? Allegations. Allegations.
But then
it was like, oh, we got allegations that you don't have a good personal life, or you may have cheated on your wife, or you may have sexually harassed somebody, or whatever the allegations were for Herman Cain. And guess what? You know what he did? He had a press conference and dropped out of the race immediately. And this is what, and honestly, I am all for holding our politicians up, to a high moral standard. But I also realize that, the idea that, we talk about the best of us are not, or the best of us are not representing us, or what do you say? The best, is that what you said? But, people that could actually be good at public service because they have messed up in their past, it scares a lot of people off because because the skeletons will come out.
Yeah, it's a credibility and an integrity problem.
Yeah.
That follows you forever.
Yeah.
Once that stuff comes out, and I don't think anywhere in society, I don't think we have to be led by perfect people, but
right
when you see stuff like this, and you see these pictures, and you're just like, oh my, bless his heart.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
But yeah, I actually have a Herman Cain story. Believe it or not, I can't. This is actually a really funny story. Herman Cain, back during the Tea Party, because this is when he was running, was kind of the rise of the Tea Party. You remember this?
I remember.
So I got to drive Herman Cain to the airport one time.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I got to drive Herman Cain to the airport, and this was before any of the scandal came out or anything like this. He's this rising star, former CEO of Godfather's Pizza.
Yeah,
and
we had a Godfather's Pizza in Poplar Bluff growing up,
okay.
and we would go there all the time. It was right in the strip mall, and great arcade games. I mean, and as a kid, it's like you go to a pizza place, you're going to play arcade games. But to find out later in life that that's the CEO of Godfather's Pizza, it's like that's cool.
Yeah. So he was touring at the time, kind of with Americans for Prosperity. So this is before, I didn't know Americans for Prosperity weren't for strong border security and, the Koch brother connection and everything else. But, I mean, they did do a lot of, trying to, you could say co-opt the grassroots of the Tea Party movement back then. And so anyway, they had an event. They brought Herman Cain to Arkansas, and Herman Cain was going on giving the same speech that he gave. I heard him give the speech probably, a dozen times,
Fully scripted.
My name is Herman Cain, like in the Bible, except I didn't kill anybody. That was his go-to, right? All right, so he had a syndicated radio show of some kind. I don't know how many stations he was on. I think it was out of Atlanta, and so Herman he needed a place to after the event. He needed a place to do his radio show, and then he had to hop on a plane. And so when I say I drove him to the airport, I'm literally just driving him to the private airport here in town. So I'm picking him up at a hotel here in town and driving to the airport, right? So he just got finished doing his radio show, and it was a Wednesday. I remember that because he said his wife was at choir practice. He told me everyone, But the reason this is relevant is because you got to understand my mindset with what's about to happen. So I'm thinking, here is, a guy that could go pretty far in the in the presidential race. Here's a guy that is black, obviously. Mm-hmm. You don't see a lot of black Republicans. This is a guy that could potentially secure a large percentage of the black vote, more so, which could give Republicans the edge. Which, by the way, that's why they targeted him, because they wanted Obama to win a second term, right? Like that. I'm just saying. But so these were the optics, and you would hear all these people talk about how. We got to have more minorities in the Republican Party. We can't be the party of old white men. So this is what I'm thinking, right? So it was me and my producer at the time in radio. We go because we were asked and said, of course, we're going to spend some time with Herman Cain. Who's not, right? I've got this young radio show, and here's a guy who's syndicated. This is a great contact for me to have personally as well. So I'm gonna pick up Herman Cain, and I'm gonna drive him to the airport. So we pick up Herman Cain. It's me, my producer, Herman Cain, and his producer. And I don't even remember what his name was. He gets in the car, and the first thing this black Republican conservative Herman Cain says to me, and we had already met, but when he gets in the car is, I'm going to need you to take me to KFC.
He needed some chicken, huh? God bless him.
And I was like,
holy cow.
I was like, okay, all right, okay, we will. But the stereotypes exist, folks, because they're reconfirmed, or they're confirmed every single day. So that was, first of all, inside just hilarious, and not really sure if I could make a joke like that or whatever, no, you can't. I'm internally it. Yeah. I mean, but inside I am absolutely laughing hysterically. And I also know my producer at the time is internally laughing hysterically. So on the way there, we started, I know this is maybe too long of a story, but so on the way there, we start talking, me and Herman Cain. Well, why KFC? Why not another chicken place? We've got other chicken places here, Popeyes or whatever. You're gonna say Popeyes. He said, well, actually, being in the restaurant business, being a Godfather's Pizza, I have found, at least this was at the time back in 2010 or whenever this was around that time. He's like, I have found that KFC has clean units. They tend to have clean units, so you're getting food that's not contaminated. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Well, so for whatever reason, our particular KFC in Arkansas had just rebranded image-wise back to the Colonel. So for a time, they took the Colonel away, and it was just KFC, right? Because the Colonel is, a white guy from Kentucky, plantation or whatever. Well, so we pull up, and apparently this was the first. It was a brand new, facade. Here's the Colonel, and Herman says, he says, "Man, I don't understand why they're going back to the Colonel." He goes, "I don't understand why we're going back to the Colonel." And I was just like, And then my producer, who loved to poke people, and he said, "Well, actually, Herman, I love the Colonel. I think the Colonel's great." And man, then Herman, he just, and it was at that point just kind of lighten the mood, but he was like, "Man, nobody cares about the Colonel." He was like, "I don't care about the Colonel. Do you care about the Colonel?" And talking to everybody, and anyway, it was just
wow.
And we drove him to the airport, and that was that. But
Rush Limbaugh liked him a lot.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
really?
I remember back in the day, he was big on him.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't think I've told that story. There may have been some four-letter. There may have been some four-letter words.
I was waiting for you to have to push the mute button for a second.
Yeah, This we try to keep it a family show, but anyway, it was a great. I don't know. It's a good memory for sure. The late Herman Cain, certainly. Sorry, and he had liver cancer, and then he had survived it. And he would say that he would say, "My name's Herman Cain. Like in the Bible, except I didn't kill anybody." And then he would say, "I had liver cancer, but I survived it, and I grew a whole new liver. I grew a whole new liver, folks."
Wow,
anyway, he was a charismatic guy. Anyway.
He was.
All right, so Corey Lewandowski. I'm sorry, not Corey Lewandowski. Kristi Noem, Bimbofication. Didn't know we were getting into the Colonel. Didn't know we were getting into the Herman Cain story. But yeah, the question is, crypto leftists, Republican, are our Republican leaders actually crypto leftists when it comes to social issues? And everybody's got personal lives. Everybody's got stuff they're not proud of, I'm sure. But that is an interesting question here with this story. And Kristi Noem's family, according to the reports, they're devastated by this. So we'll continue. I don't know. Do you think this means that she's going to continue in her new role?
Yeah, I was going to ask. I was like, well, the next chapter of this will be what we'll be telling. Because this is obviously, the breaking news of this stuff. And so then now the response after this chapter 2 will be what will be very telling. Are they going to split up? Because she's like, "Oh yeah, he's a beta male, and I should have never married him," and he's blah 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 whatever, or this stuff is just too embarrassing, and I consider this adulterous acts, and I want out. Or is she going to rally behind him? I mean, is she going to pull a Hillary Clinton?
Yeah.
And so who knows? I don't know.
This is true. So I checked the LFA chat here, and the first thing that comes up is W. Wilson, 1964. "I'm not a fan of collards. I prefer mustard greens myself." And then people are talking about hog jowls. Is this because of the fried chicken soul food? This chat is great.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. Okay. W. Wilson, 1964, claims that Church's has the best biscuits, though. Oh my goodness. I have never told you this story either. But I think we have to go here, and you're going to understand why it makes sense. So one time, Eric, I was in college, and I was taking communications, the general education requirement for communications or whatever. So in any normal communications class from high school or college, you have to eventually do a demonstrative speech where you demonstrate something. You have a speech of persuasion, and then you have a informative speech. I think it goes informative, demonstrative, and persuasive. Okay, so we're there, and it wasn't my turn to give a speech. Somebody was giving their speech on persuasion, and it was a rather healthy-looking black woman. And her speech, and I kid you not, and if there's anybody out there that was in the class with me, there are witnesses to this. Her persuasion speech was Popeyes, KFC, or Church's. and people could not. The whole class was internally in stitches. The grad assistant, I made eye contact with him, and he was just about to lose it. So stereotypes exist because people reinform that. And she said,
I was going to say, what did she persuade you to as the best of the three?
She claimed again,
debate that's worthy of
a young black lady. She said that it was churches all day long. That churches by far was the best. And I think it was like KFC 1, Popeyes 2, Churches 3. Churches 1, Popeyes 2, KFC 3. KFC comes in dead last. So, Anyway.
Awesome.
It's food for thought.
I'm not big on fried chicken.
On to a war update. So we have just a brief Iran war update. Donald Trump posting earlier today all of those countries that can't get fuel because of the Strait of Hormuz, like the United Kingdom, which refused to get involved in the decapitation of Iran. I have a suggestion for you. Number 1, buy from the U.S. We have plenty. Number 2, build up some delayed courage. Go to the Strait and just take it. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore, just like you weren't there for us. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done. Go get your own oil. President Donald J. Trump.
This is what we love about him.
So,
right?
Right? Certainly the plain talk, 100%.
Yeah, and not just plain talk, but calling out everyone else.
I will say the news of this, I think, spiked the markets up, which is certainly something that he wants. That's what we all want. We all want gas prices to come down. We all want the conflict to be over.
Which they're way down today versus what they were.
Yes. And matter of fact, let's actually take a look at that real quick. And
I filled up in Little Rock today for around $3.10 a gallon. That's way down from what it was.
Okay, so it was it's at 101.56 right now. 101.56. I don't know what it was. Per barrel. Yesterday was 104. I think time of broadcast yesterday was 104. So it is down. But
I was waiting for someone in the chat to say what my favorite thing about all that stuff that you mentioned a while ago.
What, fried chicken?
It has nothing to do with chicken. It has to do with coleslaw. Thank you, Miss Carol. That was why my mom took me to KFC all the time as a kid was
the coleslaw.
The coleslaw, absolutely.
Okay,
this is my favorite. So anyway,
it does seem like we have gone from unconditional surrender, open the Strait of Hormuz, to now the president is saying maybe we don't open the Strait of Hormuz, right?
Right.
Maybe we just come home. And I obviously am a fan of that. I don't want ground troops, but here we are. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this is going to escalate further, or is this the beginning of winding down? Because we are on week 5 of the operation. We were originally told somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks, although it could go longer than that. But
and the fact is, boots are on the ground.
I know we talked about that too. Yeah,
they're in Tripoli.
Yeah,
they're close by.
Right,
they're ready to pop in.
But we
think that at least the three of us talked yesterday, where we feel like that there are already some of our special forces operators are already in theater doing things. The
question is, do you have some sort of massive 10,000 people try to take Karg Island or something,
right.
and I get the feeling that that's exactly what Iran is wanting us to do, baiting us, making it the most.
Interesting.
I really think they want it. I think they want to kill American soldiers. They want us to try to take Karg Island.
What can they do to bait us now?
I don't know. They could booby trap the island. I was watching this guy, this survivor. It was an old Sean Ryan podcast that popped up on my TikTok, I guess, because everybody's listening. And it was a survivor of Iwo Jima, and he was just saying, he survived. All of his friends didn't, but he was saying how the Japanese had taken a excavator, and they had dug up all of this volcanic rock this really fine volcanic rock. And he said, so in order to move, so we're landing on the beach, and in order to move, your feet were sinking in up to your knees into this almost like kind of a quicksand thing, to where so when you went to run or walk, it was very, very difficult to actually move. And so he was like, and we had no idea what they had done to the island. And when I saw that, I was just like, wow, who knows what they've done to Karg Island if you're actually going to try for some sort of land invasion. And then again, I guess you could always just try to, get helicopters to land, vertically, and avoid the beaches altogether. But just continue to pray for our troops. If the president does decide to send ground troops in, we just have to pray for their protection and their safety. But I'm continuing to pray for peace and pray that this conflict ends. That's just me. It's not just me. I know it's a lot of you out there. So that's something to think about. All right. In other news, this was, I think this post broke the internet. This was last night.
Should it have, though?
Should it have? That's a great question. Should it have broken the internet? I don't know. But of course I think it broke the internet because the headline, it certainly goes against a lot of people's conclusions when it comes to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, conclusions that they've kind of already come to, which is that it was 100% Tyler Robinson who pulled the trigger. Or I guess I would even amend that. Maybe the people that have come to the conclusion that it was Tyler Robinson who pulled the trigger alone.
Yeah.
Alone, I think, would be the key word there. Yeah. But, there's a lot of different opinions about this all across the spectrum. But the Daily Mail with this headline, bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk did not match rifle allegedly used by suspect Tyler Robinson, new court filing claims. So this goes viral. 23.1 million views on this post on X. Let me update it and see if it's let me get the full number here. 24.1 million views on this post.
So I had a friend that sent me this. He just asked the question. He's like, "So is it true the bullet that killed Charlie Kirk doesn't match the suspect's rifle?" ? Right? Partially, but that's being misrepresented. The ATF ballistics analyst was inconclusive, not a definitive mismatch. Bullet condition affects whether microscopic markings can be identified. The FBI is running additional tests. Meanwhile, prosecutors have DNA linking Tyler Robinson to the rifle's trigger and cartridges, a reported confession to his father, and texts saying he targeted Kirk because he, quote, had enough of his hatred, unquote. Do inconclusive ballistics equal innocence? And the answer in his mind is no. I think that's probably one of the more objective things that I've seen so far, and why, to the point about what broke the internet last night, it's like, well, a 30-06 rifle doing exactly what it's supposed to do in a deer, and I'm so sorry to talk this way about what happened to our, someone that we love, Charlie Kirk, but like, that's what those bullets are meant to do. They're meant to break up into a bunch of tiny pieces when they hit. Especially when they hit bone. So I'm not convinced that this not matching perfectly is a representation of anything that somebody like I would call on, like, what's Candace Owens going to say now? Is she going to feel vindicated? Is she going to start ranting on her podcast about how, see?
Yeah.
I was right to question, wasn't I? It's like, no, stop.
Well,
hold on.
I would say,
right?
Well, I would say that, that was what was interesting to me was, I did see some post immediately saying, oh, no, Candace Owens is going to have a field day now. And it's like, okay, well, wait a second. While that may be true, that's not necessarily a reason to just take this as, the fact, which is, it is a fact. They're unable now. You may have a problem with the headline, and that's fine. But I think even if the headline said, ATF report ATF unable to, or ATF bullet analysis, ballistics, inconclusive, whatever, it would still have this. I think it still have the same reaction. Still, people would be like, "Oh no, what are you doing? You're trying to help Tyler Robinson, get away with murdering Charlie Kirk."
It just feels like these chyrons are engineering people to doubt even higher. Like, bullet used did not match the rifle. It's like, no, that's not what it's saying.
Right.
That is absolutely incorrect, Daily Mail. I'm sorry.
But it does raise. Look, I've got questions. I want the state of Utah to prove their case. I know we have people. I know the allegations are they've got DNA evidence or they've got a confession and they've got. It's like, okay, great. Okay, that's. I mean, if I'm willing to accept that Tyler Robinson did this. I have some questions about the investigation. I have questions about why why apparently the crime scene was covered up like the next week and paved over. To me, that's a huge problem. I don't understand how that was allowed to happen. I don't care if it was contracted to be done weeks in advance. Like, I don't understand why you would do that. I have a huge problem with the multiple videos we were shown of this is Tyler. No, that's not Tyler. This is Tyler.
Oh yeah.
I have huge problem because wasn't it was it TMZ or was some. This is him walking down the street with the rifle in his pants. I'm still very confused about all of that because the information was so fluid. I don't think he had a rifle when he jumped off the roof. That's just me. I'm just looking at it. But, this would be a great opportunity right now in the wake of this report that I'll admit has a headline that's designed to get people to click. Be a great opportunity to release a still image from the cameras that this does exist of Tyler Robinson in a prone position holding the rifle from the roof. It would be a great opportunity. Now, I know they're not going to because you've got a jury pool and everything else. Yeah. I understand that. Or the jury. I guess the jury's already.
That would be what Cash Patel would say right off the bat.
But I guess I don't understand why that wasn't already. We had the video of him running off the roof and immediately, but we never had the video of the guy holding the rifle. To me, all of that just has fueled where we are today, where people don't trust that he was the shooter, or they don't trust that he acted alone. Because there's also multiple camera angles of allegedly other people on the roof. I mean, I remember all this. There's also the alleged drones that were flying around, all kinds of things. And I'll just say that I'll say it again. I said it last week. If you want to know what the Kennedy assassination would have been like in the age of the internet, this is it. And we are in the midst, whatever side you're on, or if you're just in the middle saying, I'm just going to wait and make my judgment and see what the state evidence is, what they can actually prove in court, whatever side you're on, we're witnessing another Kennedy assassination in terms of conspiracy theories be birthed right before our eyes. And I don't think it had to be this way, but here we are. So that's my 2 cents on it. Here is this was the story. Bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk did not match rifle allegedly used by suspects. Now, again, they weren't even able to test the rifle. That's the issue here, is the bullet was so fragmented. But it does bring up, again, another big point of contention is a .30-06 not leaving an exit wound. Now, the explanation could be that you're using soft point ammunition, which is typical of a hunting rifle.
Yep.
Allegedly, this is the grandfather's hunting rifle, so you would assume that the ammunition that was used would probably be soft point, and that is designed to break up, in cases. And I know there's lots of hunters out there, and it depends on which hunter you talk to. You get a different story. There are some hunters out there that say they always have had an exit wound. There's other hunters out there that say, sometimes they haven't. If a soft point goes in and hits the spine, it's possible that, the bullet certainly fragments and goes everywhere with no exit wound. Like I said, I've talked to people that know what a bullet like this will do to the human body from personal experience. And, they say it's possible that there's no exit wound, but it's also unlikely. And just in terms of experience, I mean, I've hunted with soft point ammunition the whole time I've been a deer hunter. I've killed lots of deer. You've killed lots of deer. I mean, have you ever shot a deer with no exit wound?
Yes.
You have? Okay. All right.
Because it penetrated under one shoulder and hit the shoulder blade on the other side and stopped. Yeah.
Okay. So it is possible to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, in your own experience.
With
right?
With a 270.
Yep, 270,
which is very similar to a 30-06.
That is basically a 30-06.
Yep.
Yeah. So
That's my deer hunting rifle of choice.
Yeah, I shoot a 270 as well, and I've never not had an exit wound.
And on occasions where there is an exit wound, it's way bigger than the entry.
It's huge. So this is the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. As if I had put a perfect shot right through the heart on the side, it's gonna come through, and the other side's gonna be a way bigger mess than the entry side.
Yeah.
But I've had the opposite happen where it hasn't come out the other side.
Right. Well, you've probably killed more deer than I have.
I got 4 kids to feed, brother.
Yeah, you got.
Beef prices are way too high. We can get that ground venison, and it tastes really, really good.
I didn't kill my first deer until my 20s.
Oh, yeah?
Believe it or not. I didn't start hunting until I was an adult. Just didn't ever have the opportunity. Then I had the opportunity, and now it's an obsession.
We use this place up in Missouri, too, that makes these unbelievable snack sticks.
Yeah,
that the kids just go crazy for. Yeah. The ones that they put cheese.
Is that the Mennonite folks?
No. Those are folks here in Arkansas. This is a place where we have up in Missouri.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day about the Mennonite snack sticks, the deer snack sticks, and how good they are.
Yeah, good.
Really good stuff. Here's Lindell TV's take on this, and I thought it was good, similar to yours. Inconclusive forensic results raise questions ahead of trial. So this all really centers around the new court filings in the Charlie Kirk case and drawing the attention. The ATF was unable to confirm that the bullet fragment came from the rifle linked to the suspect, Tyler Robinson. But importantly, the results are inconclusive, not a confirmed mismatch, meaning they didn't have a bullet to even analyze. So it's not that it didn't match, it's that the bullet was in pieces. And that's why people have a beef with the headline being the way it is. But it is still a fact that there is no bullet, so there is no way to match the gun. So that would mean that piece of evidence, you can't use that piece of evidence. Now, I've also heard in all of this hubbub over the last 24 hours that ballistic matching of bullets to guns is junk science. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that there's a lot of people saying that increasingly courts are not using it anymore because people think it's junk science. But I don't know if that's the case. It goes on here, the report does not confirm the rifle was used. It also does not rule it out. The evidence remains undetermined at this stage. This comes as the case enters a critical phase. The defense has been given thousands of pieces of evidence and is requesting more time. Key witnesses, including the suspect's family and boyfriend, are expected to testify for the prosecution, I would add, and the trial is still in the early stages with more evidence yet to be revealed. There are also growing concerns about the transparency. No cameras allowed in courtroom, limited visibility into the suspect during proceedings. Bottom line, a major development, but not a definitive answer. The forensic evidence is inconclusive, and the case is far from settled. Now, this is the first time that I have actually heard they're not going to allow cameras in the courtroom, and I think that is the dumbest decision ever. If you are trying to prevent a Kennedy 2.0 conspiracy theory that's going to last the next 50 years,
right?
You put cameras in the courtroom and you record every syllable, every single one, and you let YouTubers live stream it and let everybody hear every aspect of this trial. If that is true, and what Lindell TV is saying there is true, and they are not allowing cameras in the courtroom, you are just begging for this to never ever be resolved in the majority of Americans' minds. That you are facilitating that at that point. You are facilitating the conspiracy theory by not putting cameras in there. Can we agree? I mean, can we agree that cameras in there would be great? This was the assassination of a future president of the United States. Charlie Kirk was going to be president of the United States. He's gone, and you're not putting cameras in the courtroom when there's already a divide here about people not believing the FBI, not believing the official story, Joe Kent resigning, Joe Kent saying that, hey, we weren't allowed to pull at all the threads. I put the cameras in the courtroom. Let us see the government provide the evidence as well. This guy was a public figure as a public service to all of us who need to have, I mean, I don't care. Obviously, I want the faith to be worth it, but all of us need to have the faith restored in our system, in our judicial system. We are amidst a cascading failure of confidence in nearly every system of government that we have, every institution of government we have. And I would really like to actually believe that, you know, we can trust these people, even though they lie to us constantly in varying different ways. So in an effort to restore that trust, you would think they would allow cameras in there. And so if they're not going, I'm sorry, that makes me.
I thought that judge had
furious.
said that he was going to have cameras in there.
It's I mean, I'm just going off of what Lindell posted, so I could be wrong.
Okay.
Can you Google that real quick?
Because I thought Erica Kirk had spoken about that as well.
Okay, there are growing it says right here there are growing concerns around transparency, and Lindell TV is saying no cameras allowed in courtroom. So, can you do a Google search real quick?
Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm going to move on to the next story, but
you.
just do that real quick and let's see if that is accurate. Because I just went on a rant for it. If I went on a rant for nothing, then
No.
I apologize. But it's just really frustrating. Matter of fact, we're going to take a quick commercial break here of the Paul Harrell program, streaming, broadcasting live from the state of Arkansas here on LFA TV, Facebook, YouTube, X. We really appreciate you being with us, and don't go anywhere. Remember, it is Election Day, and in Arkansas, your last chance to vote is today on the statewide runoff election for the Arkansas Secretary of State between veteran Brian Norris and State Senator Kim Hammer. So go let your voice be heard. If you're in the state of Arkansas, make sure you go vote. You've got until 7:30, and it is now 4:58 Central Time. So you have time. Get off work. If you haven't, go vote. And let your voice be heard. And we're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. Back in a moment.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
I'm Brian Norris, retired Army First Sergeant, husband to Kelly, father of 3 amazing girls, and a lifelong Arkansan who puts faith, family, and fair elections first. When Independence County demanded real election transparency, I led the charge, petitioning voters and winning at the Arkansas Supreme Court. Now, Little Rock bureaucrats are punishing counties like Searcy for putting voters first. That's not real conservatism. It's big government overreach in disguise. That's why Trump allies like General Michael Flynn, Mike Lindell, Justice Michael Gableman, Colonel Conrad Reynolds, Senator Wendy Rogers, and Senator Mark Fincham back me. Together, we'll secure Arkansas's elections and inspire the nation. As Secretary of State, I'll implement President Trump's executive order, verify citizenship, replace hackable voting computers, and build trust with verifiable paper ballots. I'll cut red tape for businesses, harness our natural gas and lithium boom, and attract tech jobs to grow Arkansas strong. This is our fight, our future. Join us.
Paid for by Norris for Arkansas.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Sorry, just kind of trying to get some clarity here on this situation. We were just trying to find out, I mean, has the judge in the Charlie Kirk case actually decided not to allow cameras? I mean, because I think what what Lindell TV was reporting there on that X account might have referred to what happened in. Well, tell me, Eric.
Well, what the judge was trying to set a precedent for was he wanted ground rules for cameras in that he wanted Tyler Robinson to be able to appear in plain civilian clothes. What he didn't want was cameras to see him being brought in shackles in an orange jumpsuit, sat down, and then exited in shackles in an orange jumpsuit as well. That's what he was trying to establish as ground rules for cameras. I don't think there was a comment that there was a ruling that during the trial that there would be no cameras in the courtroom at all, and all we'd have to judge on is people that were in there in those stinking cartoon pictures.
Well, here is a headline from 2 weeks ago. A Charlie Kirk murder case judge denies some efforts to restrict media access to court documents. Utah man, let's see here, possibility outcome sets the stage for an April hearing in which attorneys for Tyler Robinson will make their case to exclude TV cameras, microphones, and photographs from the courtroom. Judge Tony Graff has been weighing the public's right to know details about the case against concerns by defense attorneys that the heightened media attention could undermine Robinson's right to a fair trial.
Yeah.
Prosecutors, Kirk's widow, and attorneys for news organizations have urged Graff to keep the proceedings open. So it's possible that he bars cameras, but I don't think it's actually been made yet. But it was okay. But anyway,
they were just trying to establish some ground rules around it. It wasn't that there was going to be a complete prohibition of it or anything like that.
Again, I'll just reiterate: if they I'll just say this: if they ban cameras, you are asking for the birth of a new JFK conspiracy forever, because people are going to want to know every syllable that is uttered there, for sure. In other news, the Supreme Court has ended the ban on conversion therapy. Have you heard about this? This is a big deal. An 8-1 ruling on Tuesday that a Colorado ban on conversion therapy for counselors unlawfully regulates speech and is viewpoint discrimination. Viewpoint discrimination. It's pretty incredible here. So I have people I know that are in the counseling business, they're counselors or whatever, and they're Christian counselors, and they were very concerned about this. And the fact that Colorado essentially tried to ban counselors from telling boys who have been brainwashed into thinking they're girls that no, you're actually a boy. This is from The Opinion. It centers around Kaylee Childs, who holds a master's degree in clinical mental health and a state counseling license in Colorado. Ms. Childs does not begin counseling with any predetermined goals. Instead, she sits down with clients, discusses their goals, and then formulates methods of counseling that will most benefit them, seeking throughout to respect her client's fundamental right to self-determination. On matters of sexuality and gender, Ms. Child's clients, including young people, have often different goals. Some are content with their sexual orientation and gender identity and want help with social issues or family relationships, while others hope to reduce or eliminate unwanted sexual attractions, change sexual behaviors, or grow in the experience of harmony with their bodies. With all those clients, Ms. Child seeks to help them reach their stated objectives, and she employs only talk therapy. But in 2019, Colorado adopted a law prohibiting licensed counselors from engaging in conversion therapy with minors. Colorado statute, you see it there, defining the term to include any practice or treatment that attempts to change an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity, as well as any effort to change behaviors or gender expressions or to eliminate or reduce sexual or romantic attractions towards individuals of the same sex. Yet the law explicitly allows counselors to provide acceptance, support, and understanding for identity exploration and development, and to assist persons undergoing gender transition surgeries, chemicals, that sort of thing. Ms. Childs filed a suit in federal court seeking a preliminary injunction raising a First Amendment challenge to the law as it applies to her talk therapy. This whole thing centers around them trying to prevent people from having open conversations with young people basically trying to. I mean, they want the indoctrination. They've already got them. The media, they've got them in schools. They do not want a therapist to have the freedom to talk to somebody or even bring up, I would even argue, the spiritual issues that are at play here.
Yeah.
When we're talking about a woke sex religion, they don't want any input. You can't tell them that what they're doing is maybe not good for them or maybe wrong. None of that. You have to just affirm on this one issue. So you kind of get through this, and this is the Supreme Court's ruling here, again, written by Neil Gorsuch. They say that Colorado's law banning conversion therapy as applied to Ms. Child's talk therapy regulates speech based on viewpoint, and the lower courts erred by failing to apply sufficiently rigorous First Amendment scrutiny. The First Amendment protects the inalienable right of every individual to decide for himself how best to speak. And they cite Riley versus National Federation of the Blind. And it goes on. It says, how best to speak and laws that regulate speech based on its subject matter or communicative content are presumptively unconstitutional, triggering strict scrutiny that requires the government to prove its restriction is narrowly tailored to serve compelling state interests. In this case, Colorado, their compelling state interest apparently is they just want the whole state to be gay.
Jeez.
Viewpoint discrimination represents an even more egregious form of content regulation from which governments must nearly always abstain. The court has recognized only a few historic and traditional categories of expression, such as fraud, defamation, and fighting words, where content-based restrictions do not automatically trigger strict scrutiny. These categories are narrowly drawn and share a long and well-recognized historical pedigree. A law regulating the content of speech cannot avoid searching First Amendment review just because it mostly regulates non-expressive conduct. What matters is whether, in fact, the law regulates speech in the case at hand, as illustrated. And he cites all this thing. And the First Amendment's protections extend to licensed professionals much as they do everyone else. So, Colorado, their stupid law trying to ban, honestly, what this comes down to, I'm going to say as a Christian, this comes down to Christian counselors cannot put any of their Christian worldview, any biblical wisdom on somebody who is a troubled person.
And that's nuts.
That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to ban Christian counseling. Fundamentally is what they were trying to do. Matt Walsh, who created the film What is a Woman, says, to be clear, this law was an attempt to ban therapists from telling gender-confused boys that they're actually boys and girls that they're actually girls. It was literally a law prohibiting anyone in the therapy profession from verbally acknowledging biological reality to their clients. Easily one of the most psychotic pieces of legislation ever passed anywhere in the world at any time in history. The fact that Ketanji Jackson tried to uphold this law, I guess she was the one, even as her fellow liberals broke ranks with her, just proves again that she's the most unfit, unqualified, unhinged lunatic to ever hold a seat on the Supreme Court.
It's unbelievable what that woman will do and say.
It's crazy. Conversion therapy. Honestly, it's crazy that this is kind of how the law. I mean, for a long time, you know, this has been the left's buzzword, right? Is, you know, how evil conversion there. You mean you're trying to convert someone and they're going to you for a therapy session and you're going to try to convert them? Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, could if they want to be, right?
Justice Jackson is at a point now too where not even her own colleagues take her seriously.
Yikes.
You know, and you hear some of their responses, and you know they are incredible wordsmiths in the way that they say, and some of their responses, like they cut like sharper than any knife would because they're wordsmithed perfectly, and everything she says and does is just wildly obnoxious and ridiculous.
Well, you know, when obviously she's famous for not telling Marsha Blackburn what a woman is by saying she's not a biologist. So
should we be surprised by this Colorado ruling?
Yeah, so we shouldn't be. Yeah, this is her. And let's keep in mind the reason she didn't ask the question, or I'm sorry, the reason she didn't answer the question when Marsha Blackburn said, you know, define what a woman is because she knew that her own people would disown her if she participated in it. She would have violated a dogma of the woke sex religion, and they would have crucified her for it.
Which, isn't that so great? That's exactly what we want in a Supreme Court justice. Someone that's owned by the woke left.
Yeah. Yeah. But any opinion that goes against their will, they got to deny it.
Of objectivity.
Yeah. It's crazy, though. Yeah, 8-1. I didn't even think about that when I read the headline. 8-1 decision. Ketanji Brown Jackson is the one saying no. The Colorado law should be able to control how therapists counsel.
Yeah.
Really, it's essentially saying, like, you become a therapist, you are a ward of the state. You are not your own person. We're going to control you, and we're going to control everything that you say, how you say it. It's kind of very similar to, the fears of the Department of Education with these AI robots now that may start teaching kids, and it's like they want to be able to control everything about every aspect of society, including what comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's like I said. I heard this morning from Christian counselors. They text me this article, and they were just like, "Praise the Lord, we won. We won this case. We won, and now we don't have to live in fear." And when somebody comes to us and they need help and they need therapy, we've got all options on the table. Right. And you don't have to affirm madness. It also kind of opens the door for therapists to once again treat the transgender issue as a mental illness too. I think that's a big deal here because, forever we know gender dysphoria was listed as a mental illness.
Sure.
And now it's, no longer the crazies took over, and they don't want to acknowledge that the fact. I mean, they've essentially tried to delete history or wash away history or edit history or whatever. So this is a big deal. And it's certainly going to give fuel to the left. They're going to be really upset about it. But the thing is and I don't know this. I mean, does this apply to all therapists? I mean, at the end of the day, no one's forcing you you can always leave the therapist. If you don't like what the therapist says, you can always leave.
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to, though, is it's kind of a tacit admission. If you are a young person, you are malleable and you are open to persuasion, which is why their whole movement, the whole woke sex religion movement, depends on new converts. They have to take the offspring of heterosexual couples and turn them gay, trans, bisexual, lesbian, or whatever in order for their movement to continue, specifically in order for their movement to have political power in a republic where we elect our officials democratically. They have to have new converts. And so they get them young because young people are persuasive. Now, let alone the fact that it's very sick that they're talking about sex with people in many cases that are not even sexual beings. I mean, like their sex isn't even part of the equation of defining them. And it shouldn't be part of the equation of really defining, in terms of a soul definition, any of us. But because it's the sole definition of how they identify themselves, they don't know how to look at a child and see something that is sexually neutral. So they have to project their sexuality or their ability or their desire to define everybody based on their own lusts or who you want to sleep with. We've got to put that on a child. They need to make the decision young. And they're doing it because they're malleable. But likewise, when they get in front of somebody that's got a brain between their ears, or they get in front of a counselor that has a healthy fear of God, and they themselves have been raised in the fear and admonition of God, then they may give that person some biblical wisdom. They may give that person, or even just the common sense of natural law of male and female and how we were created. So they know that children are malleable, and the idea that they might go sit down in front of a therapist and be able to break free from the nonsense in Colorado or California or Oregon or Washington public schools is what they were really trying to prevent. There still are sane people in those states.
Yep.
So anyway, but apparently we like to think the pendulum is swinging back. Last July, we have Target not being so flamboyant with the Pride Month, and you had what do you had?
Yeah, that script flipped pretty quickly.
It
did. They lost $2 billion in stock value and in company value.
So you would think we're kind of over this.
Yeah.
But we're not.
Yeah.
And you would think the first people You would think that maybe masculine-oriented businesses and industries would be the first to abandon this, where your target audience is men. You would think Target might be last.
Yeah.
Like Target's the last one to say, all right, we're done with the rainbow. We're putting red, white, and blue out in June, getting ready for the 4th. Like, that's what we're doing. You'd think Target would be the last instead of the first, but the almighty dollar. But no, the NBA. We saw this the other day where the Nashville Predators changed the that's the is that the NHL or
Nashville Predators of the NHL.
Okay, so that's hockey. They changed their logo to be to be a gay rainbow logo, literally, which was really ridiculous. I mean, people made fun of that left and right.
Nashville.
Because now they're the Predators. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there was a few puns about that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But now you have a Christian who plays for the Chicago Bulls. His name is Jaden Ivey. And Jaden Ivey has now been dismissed from the Chicago Bulls because he spoke out about the NBA still planning to advertise and support and promote Pride Month, which is essentially a month that is about, let's just call it what it is. It's telling you that not only is gay being okay, the way they put it is, no, actually it's the preferred state. I mean, that's all of the messaging that I get is like, not only is gay being okay, which I obviously don't believe that it is, but no, it's the optimum state. It's the preferred state that you want to be. Here is Jaden Ivey. This was what got him banned from the Chicago Bulls, kicked off the Chicago Bulls.
That the world can proclaim LGBTQ. Right? They proclaim Pride Month and the NBA. They proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month, to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it. They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it in the streets. Unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How is it one that how are they to say that you man, this man is crazy?
I'm not the Jay I used to be, but the OJ is dead. I'm alive in Christ. No matter what the basketball setting is, I'm born again, the Holy Spirit. I've been saved by Jesus Christ. No matter what, how many DMPs I don't get to play, or no matter how many points I score, those things are a temporary thing.
Wow, praise the Lord. Count the cost. Count the cost. So not only is he a born-again believer, been born again, he says, by the Holy Spirit, it now is affecting how he lives his life. By the way, it's very Charlie Kirk of him, because much of the proselytizing that Charlie Kirk did, by the way, was not just telling people about the gospel, but it was, okay, if the gospel is true, how should we then live? How do we now live our lives? What are the implications because our faith is true? What are the implications because Jesus is not just Lord of my life, but he's actually Lord of all life, all of the world. And now we have this gentleman, I'm sorry I keep forgetting his name, I don't even remember his name, Jaden Ivey. Praise the Lord for Jaden Ivey. He is now suffering, and he's now hated by the NBA. Just like Christ said, they are going to hate us because they hated him. He's standing up for truth.
Publicly, they'll hate him. He'll have most of his teammates and guys from the other team and the people he grew up with, they'll privately support him. But that's one of the more disgusting things about this whole thing, is that no one has the gumption and guts to do that publicly anymore, because it's more popular to join the side of calling this guy names and homophobic and whatever else in the public sphere, and to take his contracts away and ostracize him and attempt to ostracize him in the NBA community all they want. But I guarantee you he's going to get way more of a reward, not only now from people privately, but someday up in glory land for his faith, just like Charlie did. I mean, that was what Charlie Kirk wanted to be known for, was his faith. And how noble is that?
Yeah, so I'm not extremely familiar with this guy. I don't keep up with the NBA. I mean, the last interaction I had was we went to the Grizzlies game to see the Dallas Mavericks play, but I mean, I haven't been to an NBA game, and I mean, that's my second time to even go to an NBA game. But this guy, so a few of the headlines: Bulls waive Jaden Ivey after anti-LGBTQ comments, Pride Month rant. So they've, then we have the liberal hit pieces. Look at this: the defector Jaden Ivey lost his mind and then his job. Look at this. This is how the world is going to treat him. Let's just take a moment. Written today. It says, in the first of recent rambling Instagram live sermons that got him fired by the Chicago Bulls, Jaden Ivey hunts through a Bible for passages to share with his followers. He evidently did not do the prep work to play sticky taps. Okay, so they're going to make fun of him. They're going to do everything they can to slander this guy. And I just pulled this article. I haven't read it, but this is what they're saying. And they're going to claim that Christianity is foolish, and of course it is to the unrighteous. The ways of God are to the lost.
Blessed are those who are persecuted
for
righteousness' sake.
Amen. And so, but to your point, Eric,
you talk about so let's pull this back to a conversation last week with the two ministers that were having a conversation about Tallarico. I mean, this is somebody that's crucified with Christ, like they were talking about, which is they were recommending that Tallarico be. And instead,
you're talking about the Reformation Red Pill podcast,
and instead the left and Tallarico himself started to talk about how they're actually saying that he needed to be unalived, and that's what they were meaning. No, you should be more like this guy.
Amen, man. That's a great callback. But I'm just kind of frustrated. I mean, I'm not surprised, but at the same time, isn't it strange that the NBA hasn't, and maybe it's because they're in metropolitan areas, but I mean, are there really honest question, I don't know. Are there really a bunch of NBA fans that are like, if you take away my rainbow, I'm never coming back? If you don't sell, I mean, really? No. I just don't think that that's the case. No. I think people are sick of it. So why would the NBA, which is trying to market to men, we want you to watch an exciting sporting event that's not rigged, wink, wink, after the betting scandals, right?
Right.
Like, why would you still continue to embrace this unless...
Because the wokeness in professional sports is not a pandering to athletes who actually feel that way and want their sport represented by that. It's not at all. It's about the corporate bullies who are sponsors who say, we've got a lot of big lobbyists that are pushing us hard on this, so if you don't fall into this line, then we're pulling our sponsorship, we're pulling our ad dollars. That's what this is all about. It has nothing to do with the players, because the minute the players start speaking out, you start to hear the honesty from them, and they're like, yeah, I don't fall in line with this trash. I just want to play. Leave me alone. Like, this does not need to be my post-game interview or my pre-game part of my pre-game interview routine with you. Yeah. I am not.
What do you think about the rainbow? What do you think about the sex lives of the LGBTQ in America?
They don't want to talk about that. They're professional athletes. They want to talk about their opponent. They want to talk about the statistics and plays and winning championships. They don't give a crap about the colors of the flags that are flying and that being a big deal to them so that they're representing. No, this is all about corporate sponsorship nonsense and placating and pandering to the squeaky wheel. And that's what it all becomes about, is the squeaky wheel getting the oil.
So I just wanted to ask, because
or lube.
in trying to answer this question.
Sorry.
It's a good pun.
Thanks.
That's good. It's not as good as the Double D Life, but it's close. It's very close. I wanted to know how many women are in the NBA in executive positions. And there's no one running stat of it, but Grok says that NBA league offices, central league operations in New York, women hold 43.3% of all professional staff positions. There are 2 women serving as presidents in the league office, roles like president of social responsibility, player programs, and president of team marketing and business operations. At the team level, across 30 NBA franchises, 30% women hold 30% of vice president positions. Women hold 30% of C-suite senior management positions. 7 women serve as team president or CEO. These percentages have generally trended upward over the past decade. I'm going to tell you right now, I would bet that the reason the NBA and NHL and all these places are still holding on to Pride Month and celebrating sodomy, let's be real, like promoting it in a market that is trying to get men who still have the ick factor. I mean, what does the psychology say? The psychology still says that when men, on average, when men see two other men kissing, they have the same mental reaction as looking at maggots. Okay, I'm just being real here. This is the truth. It has to be women women are more sympathetic. Women are more apt to promote this type of inclusivity, and I would bet a lot of money, if I had a lot of money, which I don't, that the women in the offices are the ones that are continuing to push the DEI or the LGBT in a business.
The weak simp beta males.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's tons of those.
In corporate
America. I mean, there's plenty of Dylan Mulvaney's in the corporate world, and if you don't think that there are, you just need to look around a little bit. I mean, they're there.
Well,
they're loud.
Speaking of beta males, I don't know if we could have asked for. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. I don't know if we could ask for a better segue.
Oh, thank you.
Eric
Unplanned.
Haynes. Yeah. So Democrat men,
there he is.
Yeah, part
this
of
guy.
Part of the No Kings protest, Democrat men are now. Well, I'll just tell you. I'll just let you listen to it. Here it is.
This guy drinks Dylan Mulvaney's Bud Light.
Yes, he's now boycotting Bud Light because they got rid of Dylan Mulvaney.
Right.
All right. So this is what men. This is kind of akin to the men for Kamala Harris, if you remember that commercial.
Hello, it's the Master. The reason I have red lipstick on is because I'm at the demonstration.
Hang on 1 second. Did he call himself
I think he said the Master.
Oh, my goodness. It's already off to like a crazy,
he's
amazing
the master.
start.
He's the master of something.
The master. Hello, it's me, the master of mental illness, coming to you live from the No Kings protest. Okay, here we go.
Hello, it's the Master.
Hang on.
My wife hates me and my grandkids are completely ashamed of me, but here I am with my sign.
Hello, it's the Master.
My wife's a Karen. I haven't had sex in many years, and everyone just hates my guts in my neighborhood. But
hello, it's the Master. And if Batman,
sorry, I said that.
If Batman wants to catch me, you'll know where to find me.
I'm the Riddler.
Oh, I can't even get past the first 3 seconds. I can't get past the.
Hello, it's the Master. The reason I have red lipstick on is because I'm at the demonstration in Traverse City. There are thousands of us. And red lipstick, I was informed last night by my friend Jen, was a form of resistance when Hitler was trying to take over the world. He didn't like women wearing red lipstick. So I've decided red lipstick. Everybody put on red lipstick to show resistance against you know who.
No.
Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, over and out.
You have red lipstick on because you're a total douche. Tool.
That is like a perfect microcosm of everything that the leftists are. Put on your red lipstick to show, you know who. He goes, and then immediately he's like, be kind to everybody and love yourself. Like, look at this. This is so funny. Like,
I'm wearing jorts and sandals with tall calf socks as well. Guarantee it.
Look at
Red
Guarantee he's wearing
lipstick.
jorts.
Everybody put on red lipstick to show resistance against you know who.
You know who, but then immediately,
Be kind to yourself, be kind to others.
If I could stomach it, we should make like a meme of this guy, like our Lindsey Graham sketch.
Yes.
We could make it with this guy. I'm the master. We could start a segment with that. But I couldn't stomach looking at this guy.
I know, man, but this is what they'll do. This is no dignity, just,
No, man, this guy goes home to
enslavement.
This guy goes home to bad situation every night.
Yeah.
He's got nothing else going on in his life, nothing good, and that's what he decides to use his time
Is it
doing.
true that Hitler didn't like red lipstick? I've never even heard that. I've never heard that and before, but that sounds made up. That sounds completely made up to me. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but if it is completely made up, I didn't even bother to research it. That would be hilarious. That they're just, oh yeah, I heard last night this lady, this lady that I was with. It's like, yeah, nobody believes you were with anybody, buddy. You just probably came up with that yourself, but that is what mental illness looks like. So there's still a lot of work to do, but but on the NBA front, the NBA would rather cater to this guy than to average, normal, red-blooded American males that are tired of being told to accept the LGBTQ RSTLNE, would you like to buy a vowel enclave?
Well, they do until the season ticket holders start throwing in the towel. And I think that's part of the Chicago microcosm too. Look at Chicago. Mm-hmm. Look at their governor. Look at their mayor. Did you have any faith that the Chicago Bulls organization, like with leadership at the state level and at the city level like that, would come to the defense of a player that is
absolutely not
professing his faith? No. Good grief. I mean, that idiotic mayor from Chicago was making like Trump rants the day of the girl's funeral yesterday when her family was burying her from the illegal immigrant that killed her recently at random. Like, that's the kind of leadership at that level. So it doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah. Just looking at some of the comments.
I'm a little weirded out by the whole Nashville Predators thing. Like that was just so
crazy.
odd. I saw one little thing about it, and I thought, oh my goodness! Like, come on, PR folks. Like,
how did they do that? How
did you not think that your name, the Predators, when you start throwing the trans flag around, you do not think that was going to be a pun?
This is them. I mean, this is their verified account.
Yeah, there it is.
This was their new profile pic on March 26th.
Yeah, how noble. Oh yeah.
I mean, so even the hockey. I mean, they're wanting. And there was was it a Canadian guy, or there was a guy playing on one of the Canadian teams? This was a couple of years ago, and he refused to put.
Like, no.
They wanted him to put rainbow tape on their hockey sticks, and he refused. He said, and I think he was a Russian Orthodox player, is what he was. He says, "I'm not doing that."
It makes me sick when the media does gotcha, style questioning with professional athletes. It just makes me sick. They shouldn't have to deal with that.
Yeah. Anyway, they were totally ratioed. If you'll look, hang on a second. Yeah, they got 6.7 thousand likes, but then Retard Finder found them, and they got ratioed. They got 11,000 likes to their, outperforming them. It's just crazy to me that this is where we're at. In other news, and this is we're going to shift gears here. It's a little sadder
This
news.
is tough.
Hey, by the way, we didn't get to talk before the show. Are you good to the top of the hour, or do you need to be somewhere? If you've got a bail, just let me know.
I do.
Okay.
But I want to
10 minutes or so, or
I want to see.
All right. So, Baptist Press is reporting something that you probably haven't heard. I didn't hear about it. It's now Tuesday. It took me this long to hear about it because nobody's reporting about what happened to the Christians in Nigeria. On Palm Sunday, there was a massacre. Presumably Muslims went and massacred 53 Christians who were faithfully gathering to worship the God of the universe, and they were killed. The images are very disturbing. I've seen a lot of blood and guts over it. I saw one guy who had his looked like his whole mouth was slit open. Really terrible stuff. I'm just going to read you this. This is from Plateau State, Nigeria. At least 53 Nigerians were killed in 3 Palm Sunday attacks in predominantly Christian communities in north central Nigeria. Not all of the victims were Christians in the deadliest attack, when at least 30 people were killed and several others hospitalized, Open Doors UK reported. But all attacks occurred in areas known to be predominantly or significantly Christian, with the Voice of Martyrs field worker describing the Jos community as 100% Christian. In the deadliest attack, gunmen, variously identified by survivors as militant Fulani or Boko Haram terrorists,
Boko Haram,
stormed with gunfire the Ugwan Rebuka community in the Plateau State area of Jos around 8 p.m. on Palm Sunday. Gunmen killed at least 27 to 30 residents there, witnesses said, impacting several homes. No group claimed responsibility for the attack, local government authorities said. Despite a 48-hour curfew designed to curb violence following the attack, area residents protested in the streets, lamenting responses from the law enforcement long described as inadequate. So the government of Donald Trump has warned them about this. The government of Nigeria continues to just allow the massacre of Christians, and it has to do with farmland. It has to do with I believe grazing agriculture, or what am I trying to say? Livestock agriculture versus agrarian agriculture. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. A lot of the Christians are good farmers, and they have they're growing produce. Yeah. And the Muslims want their land because they don't want them to grow produce. They want to raise whatever it is they raise. I don't know. Do they raise cattle? I have no idea. Nigerians are tired of mourning. Nigerians are tired of statements. Nigerians want to see action. This is the Christian Association of Nigeria President Daniel Okoh said on March 30th in a publicly condemning the attack. Those responsible for this atrocity must be found, arrested, and made to face justice swiftly and decisively. Anything less will only deepen the sense that life in our country is no longer protected. So in Acts chapter 4, this was providentially what the sermon that I heard this past Sunday was on, and it was the prayer. It was the apostles' prayer after they're scolded in the synagogues, and they're preaching Christ crucified, and they're preaching his resurrection, and they tell the Sanhedrin, they tell the Jews there, we preach to this man Jesus whom you crucified, and their prayer is for boldness, and we're not yet to the point where they're just irritated by the new Christians in the new church. They're not willing to go kill them yet. That's about to happen in the book of Acts. But their prayer is for boldness. They want the Lord to strengthen them amidst their persecution, but to make them even bolder, to make them fearless, to make their faith even larger, faith in the God of heaven that knows that will embolden them to do what needs to be done to advance the kingdom of God. And so as the Christians in Nigeria are mourning, and they are mourning, here's a video of a mom saying goodbye to her son. You see it there on your screen. New footage shows the aftermath of the massacre carried out on Palm Sunday by Islamists against Christians in Nigeria. A mother holds her son for the last time. What's fascinating about this is these Christians are going to gather on Sunday again, and they're going to worship Jesus Christ again, in spite of losing 30 Christians, 56 people total in this attack. They're still going to gather again, and they're going to gather with the same boldness that the same Spirit. And it's going to enable them to gather yet again. And so, if you think of these Christians, pray for their protection. Pray that that there would be a means to stop the violence, but also continue to pray for boldness for these Christians, for Christians everywhere in Iran right now, but also in Nigeria, because no one is talking about it. No one is talking about what's going on. So, anyway,
it's sad. It's almost like it's it's so foreign that it's too foreign. over there, and it shouldn't be. We've known there's been atrocities in those countries for many years, tribal wars, civil wars, and now with these Muslim terrorists and what they're doing to the farmers there, it's just, I mean, it's sick and disgusting.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that, you know, you tell your kids to count their blessings every day, and not. Well, you could have it so worse. You know, you could be like these, but no, just count your blessings, because there are places where people are worried about bad guys coming in and just killing everyone.
Yeah.
And you know, my kids don't know what that.
They have no idea what that world is.
They can't even picture anything like that. They don't understand that. But there are children there that grow up with that reality on a regular basis, and it's terrible.
Yeah, absolutely, it absolutely is.
I've been to places, you know, I've been to Panama, I've been to the Darien, I've been to El Salvador.
Well, you've been to the Darien Gap.
I've been to. It's the farthest place away from the cities. Basically, it's out in the jungle, but
you've been to the Darien Gap. This stretch of land that is just treacherous, that migrants went and crossed, you know, during the Biden administration, the Darien Gap. There was, quote, Christian charities giving people rape kits.
We set up, so before COVID, I would go each year and set up, I wouldn't set up, but I was part of a Latin American missions group that would go and do medical clinics. We would have, you know, church services and stuff too, but we set up medical clinics and triage areas to just help. Granted, it was a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound of bad hygiene and bad medical care, but at least it was something to help these people a little bit. And you see things there that when you come back, you have a new sense of perspective about the world and about the blessings that you have and about the things that you enjoy on a day-to-day basis that you stop thinking about until you go to a place where they don't have any of that.
Wow.
And that their houses are held together by chicken wire. And things that you see there, you're almost just not prepared for it, but it's like that's the way these people live. And it's, you know, it's so foreign and so different. So to then have that compound, I mean, these were happy people. I'm not saying they hated life or anything like that. These were happy people that we spent time with and that we tried to help and give medical care to and dental care to and all those other things. But, you know, the fear that these people live with on a day-to-day basis as Christians, that it's on a whole nother level. And it's just, to your point, which is very well taken, like no one else is talking about it, and we should. I thought it was a great move by President Trump when the Nigerian delegates came to the White House, and Donald Trump pulls up the...
You're talking about the South Africans.
South Africans, yeah. So not this specifics, but the South Africans. When Donald Trump's like, hey, y'all need to fix this.
The genocide of white farmers is bad, actually.
Yes. So don't come in here to the White House and don't come to America and pretend like this stuff isn't going on. Go do something about it. And I wish I'd love to see even more of that, because you shouldn't see stuff like this on Palm Sunday when people are gathering together to worship.
No, you're exactly right. But I will say it's interesting. I didn't know. I'd like to know more about your visit down to the Darien, because I think it is good. You know, charity is a great thing. It's good that you guys are having church services, because a lot of these Christian organizations, these big, massive Christian organizations, they take the USAID money to go down there and help. And guess what they're not allowed to do? Proselytize.
Oh, really? No, we had a gospel meeting. We had services every night.
I know. I would imagine you did.
Yeah.
But some of these giant so-called Christian charities, it's not about spreading the gospel. It's actually about, they were the ones giving out rape kits with the caravans. Christian groups giving people rape kits, getting them in our country, sending young children out knowing that they're going to be raped.
Oh, my God.
Knowing what's going on. And so there's a lot of people that lost their way, and they weren't allowed to proselytize. So the whole mission, the whole point of the mission to save souls, they abandoned. So they weren't really Christian organizations. They were NGO. They were non-government organization of a deep state hacks. It was a deep state intel op.
Our whole point was to partner with a local church and local churches there to let them be the ones who are coordinating this. And we're just there for, a week to help, to bring everything over that we possibly can from clinics and stuff here to help for a little bit, and then we're gone. But those people at those local churches are the ones that stay around and that plant the seeds and that have the relationships with the people there in the local communities. To me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So to hear that feedback,
that kind of labor intensive stuff is how Christian missions can be successful. So in terms of Americans going overseas to be missionaries for like long-term stays, I had somebody tell me one time, unless you can tell a joke in that culture, you have no business being over there.
Wow.
And I thought that was an interesting piece of strategy. Eric, I know you got to go, brother. We're going to take a quick break and be back here in just a second. And don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap up the show. Benny Johnson and Matt Gaetz, former Congressman Matt Gaetz, saying that there's an alien-human hybrid breeding program that he's been briefed on. We're going to tell you about that here in just a second.
I'm Brian Norris, retired Army First Sergeant, husband to Kelly, father of 3 amazing girls, and a lifelong Arkansan who puts faith, family, and fair elections first. When Independence County demanded real election transparency, I led the charge, petitioning voters and winning at the Arkansas Supreme Court. Now, Little Rock bureaucrats are punishing counties like Searcy for putting voters first. That's not real conservatism. It's big government overreach in disguise. That's why Trump allies like General Michael Flynn, Mike Lindell, Justice Michael Gableman, Colonel Conrad Reynolds, Senator Wendy Rogers, and Senator Mark Fincham back me. Together, we'll secure Arkansas's elections and inspire the nation. As Secretary of State, I'll implement President Trump's executive order, verify citizenship, replace hackable voting computers, and build trust with verifiable paper ballots. I'll cut red tape for businesses, harness our natural gas and lithium boom, and attract tech jobs to grow Arkansas strong. This is our fight, our future. Join us.
Paid for by Norris for Arkansas.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for being with us. Having to speed run through some things. I want to thank Eric for being a guest on the show today. We're live from Arkansas. Hey, real quick, if you're in the state of Arkansas and you're listening to the show, thank you, number one. Number two, it is Election Day here, a runoff election between Brian Norris, Secretary of State. For Secretary of State, Brian Norris running. He's a veteran against State Senator Kim Hammer. It's very much a establishment versus grassroots thing going on here. We'll let you know the results of it tomorrow. But for those of you who don't know about it, if you live in Arkansas, you've got time. You've got till 7:30 Central. That's 7:30. You've got about an hour and a half to get this done if you want to go vote. Make sure you do. Just make sure your voice is heard. And I'm really anxious to see the results of this. Figure out what exactly the people of Arkansas think about paper ballots or voting machines and everything else. And there's more issues at play here, but those are the big ones. So I voted today. I voted for Brian Norris. I've made that clear. We've had Brian on the program, and I support what he's doing. And I think he'd be good for the job. So anyway, Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz went on Benny Johnson's show. It's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't. This is one of those things where I don't really know what to do with this other than go to Scripture. But earlier, Matt Gaetz, former congressman, would-be attorney general. By the way, can we just take a moment and just reflect? If Matt Gaetz had been the attorney general, and there's never really a way to know if we were right or not on this, but I think we would have much different results than we do right now. Anyway, this is what Matt Gaetz told Benny Johnson.
I think the most important information will be the biologics that are not human that have been discovered. And like even some of the briefings that aren't classified just need to be out in the public. I mean, I had someone come and brief me who was in a military uniform, worked for the United States Army, that was briefing me on the locations of hybrid breeding programs where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some hybrid race that could engage in intergalactic communication. An actual uniformed member of...
Stop right there. That could engage, so the hybrid race can somehow engage in intergalactic communication. I wonder if you really mean interdimensional communication. Obviously, the spiritual component here cannot be overstated, or it's being understated. But look, there's many different ways to define things. It depends on what your definition of communication is. Where's it coming from? Where exactly? And this is why many in the Christian community think that we're actually talking about spiritual entities and spiritual warfare manifesting in the physical and not actually green men from Mars. Even J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, said to Benny Johnson, of all people, last week, that he thinks the alien phenomenon is actually demonic.
The United States Army briefed me on that.
Non-human biologics, interracial alien mating? What the F is going on? Look, wait a second. You had whistleblowers tell you this kind of thing? Can you please unpack that?
Yeah, I had a guy who was uniformed. He was a senior enlisted with the United States Army. Came into my office in Crestview, Florida, in a non-classified setting. I had members of my staff there, and what they explained is that the military ran a very secret program where aliens that were living were in forced breeding programs with humans that had been abducted from war zones and from even the caravans of migrants. Now, again, I didn't verify this, but what the whistleblower was telling me is that there were like between 6 and 12 locations around the country where this happened, and what he wanted was a group, members of Congress, to all show up at the same time at all of these different locations so that any of those activities could not be moved. And of course, it's a physical impossibility to get members of Congress to simultaneously show up at like 8 locations.
Okay, so shocker, the whistleblower in an unclassified setting was trying to get members of Congress to go to these 12 locations at the same time, meaning cornering them where they have no place to go, where they can't, oh, the Congress is coming, let's close down shop and abandon everything. No, we want to catch them in the act. Go to these 12 locations, a couple of different congressmen just converge at this exact time on this exact date, and shocker, once again, Congress doesn't care about the American people. Also, and if you were in that situation, you'd probably ask the same thing, like, or you'd probably wonder what, I mean, well, if I go there, am I going to get killed? Like we're dealing with things like, is my whole family going to get killed, and the nation's going to be told that I Jeffrey Epstein'd myself when in fact I didn't? Am I going to be framed for some crime? You got to think about this for a second. There is a, you know, with this is really the importance of why we need Christian legislators, congressmen. We need people who are not afraid of men. We need people who are willing to rely on the supernatural power of the Lord, power of God, to confront the evils that we're facing, to confront the constant lying that we're facing, to confront the schemes of the devil. But we don't have that right now. We don't. getting Congress to all go and put their... That would be them, actually. Let's be clear what that would have been. If this is all true, assuming this is true. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. If that were true, those congressmen and women would have been risking their lives to expose the truth that this whistleblower wanted exposed. You would be asking them who they didn't sign up to risk their lives. Okay. They signed up to represent the people, right? They didn't sign up to risk their lives and go expose some sort of demonic human inbreeding program, which, by the way, the Bible in Genesis chapter 6, as far as I'm concerned, reveals that this has been done before. Maybe under slightly different circumstances, but the destruction, the enemy's desired plan of corrupting human DNA, or the seed of the woman, referenced in Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, is not a new strategy. Not as imperative anymore, quite honestly, because as we can say, as Easter's approaching, that was an unsuccessful attempt, because the seed of the woman did eventually lead to the birth of Christ, and Christ conquered death for a people. So that's something to think about there. In other news, sorry to just gloss over that, but I mean, I don't know what else to do with that other than say, yeah, I think that this whole alien UPA UFO phenomenon is demonic, and I also think that we're being prepared for a giant psychological operation that's going to make COVID look like Dorothy's trip to Wizard of Oz. I mean, it's going to make it like it's going to be very Mickey Mouse compared to what would be, some sort of fake alien invasion where the aliens are actually demonic. We didn't have time for this one, but I do want to direct your attention to it. There is an initiative petition in the state of Oregon. They're trying to get this on the ballot, and it would criminalize most activities that kill animals, including hunting, fishing, and livestock farming. I'm not joking here. Here's a woman describing what would happen if they were successful.
Okay, if you live in Oregon, listen to this or not, but they're trying to pass a law right now where you cannot hunt, fish, or raise animals on your own land to eat because of animal cruelty. Again, this is the second time this law has come into pass. They're trying to get it passed. In Oregon, if you are a farmer and you have land where you have rabbits and chickens and all that, you will not be able to eat them. They will make a law, if this passes, you cannot hunt, fish, or raise animals to eat on your property because
men won't. This is National File was saying this is the end game. This is it. Like it'll be this first. We're going to prevent a man's right to forage for his own food, to raise his own food, and next it'll be, oh, you can't pick the apples until they fall off the ground, and even then they need to be regulated. Don't harm a plant. It'll be plant life next, because these people are a part of a death cult, and really this is a whole effort of suicide, quite honestly. That's all the time we have for this edition of the Paul Harrell program. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching. We really need to grow that channel. Also want to thank LFA TV, the great audience there. I'm going to hand it off to Secret America. God bless, and don't forget to vote if you're in Arkansas. We will see you tomorrow.